Italy. The terrible events occurred on Via dei Lucani 22 Rome in a building that was invaded by illegal immigrants dedicated to the sale of all types of drugs in the San Lorenzo neighborhood, in which the neighbors complained highly about the abandonment and deterioration of the entire area, in addition to the lack of security and police control. There, steps from the Colosseum and the Tyrrhene River, the malignancy of these people would be unleashed, giving free rein to their baser instincts against a 16-year-old girl, a teenager. Of course, the lying, filing to the truth, trying to exonerate themselves from an atrocious crime they committed against a young Italian woman. Joseph Salia, one of the accused, and later sentenced to 27 years in prison, had the nerve to file a complaint against her parents for not controlling and for abandoning her. He said that if her parents had taken care of her at home, the girl would never have arrived to Via dei Lucani and he would not be imprisoned. What a courage and lack of respect from an illegal immigrant and drug seller, and finally a rapist and murderer. A complaint that he later had to withdraw. By allowing this complaint, Maria Antonietta Sestra, her lawyer, had to deal with all types of organizations, including feminist and LGBTI organizations, because with this complaint, Desirée was re-victimized. This is the Desirée Mariottini case. October 18, the year 2018. She arrives at the Termini train station in Rome and did a phone call to her grandmother and communicates that she will go to pass the night in a friend house of her, a girl, but goes to the building in the San Lorenzo neighborhood a few hundred meters away in search of narcotics. She was accompanied by Antonella Fauntleroy, a young African immigrant who was 21 years old at the time, and she was more precisely from the Republic of Botswana, with whom it is believed they had known each other a few weeks ago and who is suspected of having sold drugs to her on many occasions, even though she knew that Desirée was a minor. Antonella received a 6-year prison sentence and was apparently the daughter of a wealthy, disgraced Johannesburg diamond dealer. In that building, she is forcibly drugged until she loses consciousness without knowing what substances the predators used and brutally sexually abused. It's don't know for sure how many men or how many times. There are 4 defendants, but it is suspected that there were 3 or 4 men who subdued her and forced her arms and legs, the investigators commented. And then she was left abandoned off a cot for more than 10 hours in agony, in which, if her perpetrators had called the emergency service, Desirée would have survived. But this group of scourges preferred to leave her in a state of unconsciousness. Who knows why? Well, we know why. Illegal immigrants who perhaps entered through Lampedusa as if they were poor refugees. What would Pope Francis have said about this case? No one knows. After having given her water and sugar and seeing that she was turning cyanotic, they moved her from the cot to the chair, to a chair, and finally, having passed all those hours, someone decided to call the 118, and that is the Rome's emergency number. And when the ambulance arrived, what happened? The doctors cannot enter because the criminals closed the access gate with chains and padlock, having to wait for the arrival of the police to finally enter. Again, the lies that caused Desirée to die. This was already the day after, October 19th. The autopsy determined that she died from a cardiorespiratory arrest due to lack of medical attention. There were 4 African immigrants involved in the rape, abandonment, and death, but it is also known that there were 4 women, 2 of whom were Italian. Joseph Salia Mamado Gara, without legal documents of residence allowed in Italy. Brian Minte, he had a residence permit in Rome for humanitarian reasons. And Chima Alino, police catch these men running very far away from the scene of the incident. All these people came from Senegal, Gambia, and Nigeria. We are talking about illegal immigrants who most of the time arrive in boats through the Mediterranean Sea without any controls, and that Pope Francis is so concerned about, and ask for help without knowing who they are, what they do, why they run away, or anything at all, and that they always present themselves as victims. And once in Italy, you don't know what they do. The defendants blamed Desirée because she had come to them due a severe drug abstinence and clarified that they all had consensual relations with the young woman, blaming each other for the violence exerted against the young woman's body. This means that no one accepted having done physical harm. According to the autopsy, the young women had never had sexual relations until that moment. So a witness who provided information commented that one of the accused, seeing the state in which they had left her, showed it as a threat due to her inaction to help her. The following phrase: "Better death than us in jail." On October 24, 2018, Matteo Salvini, leader of the Northern League and Minister of the Interior, heads to the building to leave a floral present, but the San Lorenzo activists, mostly left-wing, prevent Salvini from placing a rose outside and made serious accusations against him. We don't know if the neighbors had previously raised complaints and protests about the deterioration that the neighborhood was going through and the presence of widespread drug crime in such a forceful and visible way. Although a court sentences these subjects to go to prison, only 2 of them received what they call a life sentence. But for one of them, that means only 27 years. So this is not life sentences properly said. Desiree's mother did not agree with the sentence that the convicts received.